Okay, here's something that sounds, well, almost unbelievable. A 23-year-old entrepreneur, apparently with not much background in AI automation, no big social media presence, and they're on track to hit over $1 million this year. It feels like a paradox, doesn't it?
It really does. But, the fascinating part isn't some hidden tech trick or secret code. What our source material lays out today is actually a pretty straightforward, strategic four-stage blueprint. It's a path anyone can follow. Really, it doesn't matter how much coding you know or don't know.
Well, welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're diving into this proven roadmap, a structured way to build, potentially, a seven-figure AI automation business. Our goal here is to really unpack these four stages, understand how you move from just being interested to actually having real market leverage and, well, building wealth.
Yeah, it's a whole journey of stacking skills, one on top of the other. It starts with stage one, which is freelancing. Then that naturally progresses into stage two, doing higher value consulting work. From there, you learn how to scale into stage three, building an actual agency. And finally, the fourth stage is about ultimate leverage, teaching, sharing that knowledge you've gained.
Before we get into the stages, let's touch on the core issue. A lot of the advice you see online about making money with AI, it's mostly noise, isn't it? It's either, clickbait promising fast cash or these super dense technical manuals that assume you're already an expert.
Exactly. They miss the practical truth, which is you have to master things step by step. You can't just leap to the end. This blueprint is all about compounding. What you learn and prove in stage one, that becomes the foundation, the fuel for stage two.
And that compounding effect, it has a huge financial impact. Let's look at stage one, freelancing. You might be doing projects for, say, $500 to $2,000. Solid start.
Solid start. But then you move to stage two, consulting. Suddenly you're talking $5,000, maybe even $100,000 for a single strategic project. Stage three, the agency. That's where you can cross that $1 million a year revenue mark.
And stage four, teaching.
Yeah.
Leveraging all that built-up authority, the potential there is, wow, $150,000 plus per month in passive income, pure profit. That's significant leverage.
It absolutely is. But here's the crucial takeaway, the synthesis. That massive potential only really unlocks because you put in the time validating your skills at those earlier, lower levels. It's earned authority. You can't fake it.
Okay, that makes sense. But if the end goal is that huge income, why bother with the small freelance projects? Why not just try and jump straight into consulting?
Because you need the confidence first. And you need that measurable proof that you can deliver value. That proof, that's the currency you use later to land those high-ticket clients. Without it, you're just making claims.
Got it. Proof precedes profit. Okay, let's dig into stage one then, freelancing with these AI modules. This is where you build that foundational proof.
Right. And the strategy here isn't about building massive, complex systems right away. It's about focusing on building blocks. The source calls them intelligent Lego blocks. You start with pre-built templates or modules, often using low-code platforms.
Like a NN is mentioned. We should probably clarify that for anyone listening who hasn't used it. NN is basically a visual tool. It lets you connect different apps and AI services to build workflows without needing to write traditional code, kind of like digital plumbing.
Exactly. So you're learning to assemble small, very specific solutions. Maybe you master an AI receptionist for dentists, or like a bot that automatically asks customers for reviews. You get really good at delivering the result from one specific block before you try and combine things.
And there's a framework for this stage, BLD. B is block by block, start small. U is understand the use case. So figuring out which specific businesses really need this particular block.
Then II is install and imitate. You run that module, you practice it until you can replicate it perfectly. And crucially, you create like a super short, maybe 60-second demo that shows the result, the value, not the technical stuff behind it.
Then L is land the first client. You use that clear, value-focused demo, reach out, maybe LinkedIn, maybe cold email, but you focus only on what it does for them, the ROI.
Right, not the how. And the final step, D, is document and duplicate. This documentation becomes your first real case study. This is what you'll need for stage two. You need to be able to say, this AI receptionist reliably saves dentists, say, 4 hours a week. You need that number.
That D for document seems absolutely vital. There's a success story mentioned, Jerome. He started with a free template for an AI newsletter agent, but he didn't just use it. He documented that his client was spending 5 hours every single week just writing newsletters.
Exactly. And then he quantified the savings. He calculated the value, okay, 5 hours saved, multiplied by what that employee actually cost per hour. And suddenly, he could show this automation saves the client potentially tens of thousands a year in labor. He sold the financial outcome, not just the tool itself.
That's the key shift, isn't it? Stage 1, it's accessible. The scorecard reflects that. Speed to money is high, 8 out of 10. You can close these small deals relatively quickly, but the income potential is lower, just 3 out of 10. It really forces you to be disciplined.
Yeah, think of it like your apprenticeship. You're laser focused on delivering measurable value. You're building that confidence, building that credibility before you start asking for bigger checks.
So thinking about moving on,
Mm.
what's the one non-negotiable skill a freelancer absolutely has to master before they can realistically step up to stage 2, consulting?
It's that ability to consistently provide measurable value and generate tangible results for the client every time.
Okay. Consistent, measurable results. That proof is the ticket to the next stage. Makes perfect sense. So stage 1 gives us proof, but proof alone doesn't get you those consistent, say, 6-figure contracts. That needs a bigger strategic leap, right? Which brings us to stage 2, AI consulting, the strategy shift.
Exactly. The shift is from just delivering a tool to diagnosing the problem. Most businesses, yeah, they're kind of overwhelmed. They know they should automate something, but they often don't know what or where to start. That confusion. That's the consultant's biggest opportunity.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that confusion. Honestly, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes when I'm trying to figure out where AI could help most. You try to automate something complex and the AI just kind of goes off in weird directions, wastes hours. It's genuinely hard to know where the biggest, most reliable win is.
And that's precisely the pain point you address as a consultant. You step in and provide clarity. You become like a business detective. You're not just selling tools anymore. You're selling the answer to the question, what should we fix first for the biggest impact?
Mm.
You offer a strategic roadmap.
And the SCAN framework is the guide here.
Mhm.
S is study the business, asking smart questions, digging in to find the real bottlenecks. Where are the repetitive tasks? Where's the high labor cost on low-value work?
Then C, calculate the opportunity. This is absolutely critical for justifying your fee. You have to show the ROI clearly. So if you find a manual process costing, say, $200,000 a year in labor, and you figure out your AI plan can cut that by 70%, well, you've just framed a very clear $140,000 savings opportunity. You're selling an investment, not an expense.
Okay. Then A is architect the solution, designing that full strategic roadmap. Maybe combining some of those reliable stage 1 templates with bigger custom strategy. And N is narrate the results, creating those powerful case studies that position your service as an investment with a guaranteed return.
Yeah, the success story here is quite telling. A client came asking for just a simple personal assistant automation, small scale. But the consultant, acting like that detective, looked deeper and found the real bottleneck was actually handling the sheer volume of 247 customer support requests. Big cost center.
So they didn't just build the simple thing the client asked for, they pivoted. They focused on the bigger, high-cost problem and designed a whole workflow around transforming customer support, delivering much, much higher value. Solved the underlying business problem, not just the initial, maybe misguided requests.
Exactly. You're guiding the client to the best possible outcome, even if it's not what they initially thought they needed. Now, the scorecard for consulting reflects the increased difficulty, ease for beginners. It drops quite a bit, down to 4 out of 10.
And why the drop? What makes it harder?
Well, you need more than just technical skill. You need that technical range, plus real professional communication skills and credibility. You're negotiating potentially 6-figure deals now. Your proof, your case studies, your presentation, it all has to be top-notch. But the flip side is the income potential jumps up to 6 out of 10. So the reward matches the challenge.
So is every consulting project then a massive custom-built system from scratch?
No, not necessarily. It's often a mix. The highest value definitely comes from those tailored strategic roadmaps that fit a client's exact processes. But sometimes the quickest wins involve diagnosing the main issue and then implementing maybe an adapted version of those stage 1 Lego blocks you've already mastered.
Okay, that makes sense. So you diagnose, then apply the right tool, sometimes custom, sometimes template-based. That naturally leads us toward scaling, right?
Yeah.
Stage 3, the AI partner or agency model. Because once you master consulting, you inevitably hit a ceiling, just you doing the work. There are only so many hours in the day for designing, building, talking to clients.
Right. This is where you start leveraging other people's time, not just your own. You turn your successful consulting practice into an actual business that can deliver at scale.
And the market opportunity here seems huge. The source mentions big firms like McKinsey charging hundreds of thousands just for an initial audit before they even start building anything.
Yeah, and that creates this massive gap in the market. You've got mid-sized companies who are desperate for this kind of strategic AI help, but they just can't afford those huge price tags. That's the sweet spot for this agency model. You position yourself as the efficient, high-value, but more accessible alternative.
Let's talk about how you actually scale. The GROW framework, G, is get developers. You need to start offloading the hands-on technical building and maintenance, finding good people, maybe specialized ones.
R is retain authority. This sounds crucial. The owner, the original consultant, shouldn't just become a manager. They need to stay the chief strategist. You're still the one running the audits, mapping the ROI, ensuring the quality and the value delivered. This stops things from just becoming low-margin implementation work.
Okay. O is onboard sales. Once your delivery is solid, you need people focused just on bringing in new business, filling that pipeline. And W is win with brand. Over time, your reputation, your portfolio of results, that becomes your biggest asset for attracting clients.
Now, the source is pretty clear about this. Before a consultant even thinks about hiring and becoming an agency, what absolutely needs to be true.
Right, the non-negotiables. You need consistent client flow, a really strong portfolio that demonstrates ROI across different types of businesses, and you need to consistently have more work coming in than you can possibly handle on your own. That's the signal to scale.
And the scale scorecard really underscores the difficulty. Ease for beginners is way down at 2 out of 10. You absolutely have to nail the first 2 stages before attempting this. But the income potential climbs higher, up to 8 out of 10.
There's a reality check needed here, though. The framework makes it sound almost straightforward, but building an agency involves managing people, cash flow, risks. What's the biggest operational danger that the retain authority part of GROW seems designed to prevent?
Yeah, it's scope creep and value decay. The big risk is you just become a commodity, a low-margin delivery shop churning out code. By retaining authority, is the R, the owner keeps control of the strategy, the initial audits, making sure the team always focuses on high ROI outcomes for the client, not just ticking off technical tasks. And even with high revenue, like a $1 million agency, the source notes that after you pay salaries, tools, all the costs, profit is realistically more like 40, maybe 50%.
Right. Still fantastic, but it's not pure profit. It's still a service business, heavily leveraged time, just more leveraged. But there is one final stage mention, one that seems to completely break that link between direct service delivery and income.
Stage 4, yes. The ultimate leverage. Teaching AI automation. Slight pause. Whoa. I mean, just imagine scaling your knowledge like that, creating that kind of financial freedom. The numbers mentioned, $150,000 or potentially more monthly. Pure profit. That's a different level.
Pure profit because you're selling access to knowledge, systems, templates, not your direct labor on custom projects. The costs are relatively minimal, marketing platform fees maybe.
And this stage is only really possible because you've built authentic authority through the first 3 stages. You've spent months, maybe years, in the trenches. You've built real solutions, documented the results. Now you're selling those proven case studies, your unique blueprints, those battle-tested templates. People pay for proven paths.
That earned trust allows you to monetize your knowledge at a significant scale, often through things like memberships or courses, right?
Yeah.
Recurring revenue.
Exactly. And the SHARE framework guides this stage. S is show. You constantly show off new, valuable automations. You're demonstrating ongoing proof from your agency work.
H is hook. You give away some value, maybe free templates or insightful case studies to attract an audience and capture leads. A is attract, building a community, maybe free, where you consistently share value, warm up that audience, and establish yourself as the go-to expert in your niche. Yeah.
R is recommend. This is the monetization. You recommend your paid community or course for the deeper insights, the advanced templates, direct access maybe, that's the engine for the high passive income, selling access to your library of solutions, maybe through recurring memberships. And E is expand, always adding new content, turning every new automation you build for your agency into another asset you can monetize through teaching.
It really is true leverage. You build an amazing template once, but potentially thousands of people could pay for access to that knowledge month after month. It feels like the peak of monetizing expertise.
So thinking back to the progression, why is teaching the final stage? Why not try and do that first, since it seems like the highest leverage?
Because the authority you need to sell knowledge effectively. It can't be faked. It has to be real. It requires having actually done the work, documented the results, mastered the skills through stages 1, 2, and 3. You need real proof to be able to sell proof credibly.
Okay, so we've really walked through this whole compounding roadmap. Freelancing gets you the initial proof. Consulting builds your strategic credibility and higher ticket value. The agency scales your capacity to deliver those solutions. And then teaching, That offers the ultimate financial freedom and leverage by scaling your knowledge.
And it's not positioned as a get-rich-quick thing. It's a progression, a timeline. The source suggests, roughly, months 1-3, you're mastering freelance projects, those Lego blocks. Months 4-8, you make the shift into higher value consulting.
Right. Then maybe months 9-18, armed with solid case studies, you start building out the agency model, the systems for scale delivery. And only then, maybe after 18 months or more, once your mastery is undeniable, do you layer on teaching for that passive income stream.
And this model seems to work where others fail because it avoids those common traps trying to do too much too soon or promising things without proof. It's built on progressive skill development, real proof driving growth, and creating sustainable systems.
And the opportunity right now is just huge, isn't it? Businesses are crying out for help with automation. They need strategic guidance. But like we said, many can't afford the giant consulting firms, and the tech is complex enough that genuine expertise commands a real premium.
So it suggests the real winners in this AI wave. They won't necessarily be the people with the deepest technical skills or the ones with the most funding.
Probably not. The winners, according to this blueprint, will be the ones who follow a proven progression like this, who build real, documented skills that solve actual business problems. And then they strategically use those results to build systems that scale their impact and authority over time.
It's a clear path, this blueprint, moving from selling your hours for dollars to eventually selling systems and knowledge for potentially massive leverage. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening, based on everything we've unpacked today.
Yeah, this whole journey, this entire multi-stage model, it really starts with the smallest, simplest, most quantifiable win you can find. So the question for you is, what's the single most repetitive, maybe low-value task in your current work or a business you know well? That could become your very first intelligent Lego block. Go find that one thing.
Because that's where this potential seven-figure journey actually begins.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.